After his master died, this warhorse refused to leave, dragging back tens of thousands of corpses over 100 years, hoping the dark energy would bring his master back to life. What the horse never realized was that he too was absorbing that death energy and slowly becoming a demon beast. Wu Yun had been General Liu's mount during the Song dynasty, spending half his life following the general along the northern frontier, fighting campaign after campaign to hold back the enemy. Nearly 60 years old, he had long since grown numb to the brutality of war. After every major battle, the battlefield would be blanketed with the dead. In those days, the fallen rarely received a proper burial, especially the enemy. Bodies were heaped together and hastily covered over. Over time, the battlefield became a mass grave holding tens of thousands of bodies. The general's advisor pulled him aside with a warning. "General, if that mountain of corpses isn't dealt with, it will become a corpse breeding ground. If it festers long enough, something terrible will come of it. I know, give me 3 days. I have a plan." General Liu didn't give the warning much thought, but the old horse had heard every word and tucked it away somewhere in his mind. Just then, several imperial edicts arrived at the front lines by emergency relay. 4 golden tablet decrees from the emperor himself, summoning General Liu back to the capital at once. They came like death warrants, one after another without pause. The old general was bound by duty to obey, but his military advisor pulled him aside and told him, a few days prior they had captured an enemy spy, and under interrogation, learned that a traitor in the imperial court had been colluding with the enemy. I sent a report to the capital through secure channels, but waited a long time and never received a reply. It's likely the traitor has already seized control of the court. This journey is far more likely to end badly than well, but if the general refuses the emperor's summons, he becomes a rebel himself. He agreed to go. General Liu thought to himself, if I don't walk out of the palace today, then even in death, I'll take those traitors down with me and wake the emperor up. But the moment the old general reached the capital's gates, he was immediately surrounded by soldiers. The general stroked Wu Yun's forehead. If I don't come back, take care of yourself. Don't let them catch you. Wu Yun seemed to understand that this farewell was final. He grew frantic and agitated. Even when the general's most trusted attendant tried to follow, the general waved him back. The one who had ordered General Liu's arrest was the most powerful traitor at court. The old general roared his crimes out loud for all to hear. You traitorous snake, don't think I don't know what you've done. I'll petition the emperor to have your head. But the traitor's reply chilled the old general to the bone. You think the emperor wants to see you? Conspiring with the enemy, intent to rebel. By rights you should be torn apart by 5 horses. The old general couldn't make sense of it. He had given everything in loyal service to his country, and this was how it ended. News that General Liu had been taken to the execution grounds quickly reached his attendants. The 2 men desperately wanted to intervene, but couldn't think of a single way. Wu Yun, standing nearby, heard every word. A sharp whinny rang out. Wu Yun let out a thundering cry, snapped his tether and launched himself into the air, clearing a wall several meters high as if he had wings. Cut to! Outside the meridian gate of the imperial city, General Liu had been bound at the head and all 4 limbs, the other ends of the ropes tied to 5 horses. The general roared in fury and defiance. The traitor gave the order. Begin. 1 lash of the whip, and the old general should have been torn apart. But the executioners discovered that no matter how hard they whipped, the horses would not move. As the crowd looked on in bewilderment, a thunderous whinny exploded from the northwest. A black shape sliced through the crowd like a blade, sending soldiers flying in every direction. Without slowing down, moving through the chaos like no one could stop him, the traitor finally realized what was happening and screamed, "Loose the arrows!" A storm of arrows came flying in. Wu Yun threw his body in front of the general, taking every arrow himself. The old general had been ready to die, but seeing his companion of decades bleeding to save his life, if he stayed, Wu Yun wouldn't leave either. He swung himself onto the horse's back, and they crashed through wave after wave of soldiers to break free. But the soldiers kept coming, too many of them. Wu Yun was severely wounded again and again, nearly had his throat pierced through. The traitor watched the chaos unfold and screamed in humiliated rage. The old horse knew people well, and knew exactly who was responsible for all of this. He pivoted and charged straight at the traitor. General Liu hurled the ropes that had been wrapped around him and looped them tight around the traitor's neck, yanking him off the platform. The surrounding soldiers instantly stopped firing. That traitor was the emperor's most favored man. No soldier dared risk hitting him, and could only watch helplessly as the general dragged him along. The old general found enormous satisfaction in the sight. Soldiers gave chase from behind, but the city guard horses were no match for Wu Yun. He plunged deep into the forest and vanished. By the time soldiers finally tracked down the traitor, only half of him was left. Man and horse had run 30 or 40 li without stopping. The old general was gasping for breath. He gently tapped his heels against Wu Yun's sides, signaling him to stop. Wu Yun ducked into a nearby thicket, made sure there was no danger nearby, then stopped. The old general weakly patted Wu Yun's back, then clutched his abdomen in agony, and coughed up a mouthful of blood. Truth is, as a soldier, from the day I first stepped onto a battlefield, I made my peace with dying in battle, but I just couldn't accept it. Not dying like this, in a country run by traitors. Thank you, old friend. Because of you, I didn't die a pathetic death. Getting to kill that treasonous rat, that's loyalty enough to my country. At that moment, Wu Yun sensed something was wrong. He quickly turned his head to look, and realized the old general had been hit by an arrow too. One had gone clean through his chest. Too dangerous to pull out. Too late to stop the bleeding now. That I've lasted this long is nothing but sheer will keeping me here. If there's another life, let's go into battle together again. Those were his last words. So many warriors had died defending their homeland, only to be falsely condemned. But Wu Yun couldn't accept it. He and the old general had fought their whole lives together, crawling out of piles of the dead more times than either could count. A bond like that had long surpassed master and servant. They were brothers who had walked through death together. A single mournful cry rang out. and echoed across the entire mountain range. Wu Yun carried the general's body and galloped through the forest, then charged back toward the frontier, to the valley where the dead were buried. Wu Yun remembered what the mystic had said. As long as the general could come back, no matter what form he returned in, perhaps he could accept it. Wu Yun stared at the mountain of corpses. After General Liu had been summoned back to the capital, no one had tended to this place. It had been left to rot, and the dark energy here had grown far denser than before. Wu Yun dug with all 4 hooves, clawing at the earth relentlessly, until his hooves were torn raw and bleeding. He didn't stop. The pit took shape. Through those days and nights, no one knew how much it cost Wu Yun to dig a pit of that size, then haul tens of thousands of bodies down into it, and place the old general's body on top of them all, then scrape the earth back over everything. Once the mound was filled in, Wu Yun gathered stones and built a cairn over where the general lay, hoping any passing traveler would know this was the general's resting place, a site worthy of offerings and reverence. But this served another purpose as well: to breed the dead, to bring the general back. Over the following centuries, he would raid the surrounding lands for more bodies, feeding them into that massive pit, never realizing that through all those years of absorbing the death energy day and night, he had slowly become a demon beast himself.